So, how can the US government actually take away your citizenship? If you were born in the United States, you probably feel like your citizenship is set in stone. And for the most part, you're right. The 14th Amendment says if you're born here, you're a citizen, period. The government can't just decide to take that away. But if you became a US citizen through naturalization, meaning you were born somewhere else and went through the process to become an American, there are a few situations where your citizenship isn't as bulletproof as you might think. So, how does this actually happen? How can the government strip someone of their US citizenship? If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now, let's begin. First, there's something called denaturalization. That's just a fancy legal word for when the government revokes citizenship from someone who wasn't born in the US but became a citizen later on. This doesn't happen to people born here, only to naturalized citizens. And don't worry, it's not something that happens every day. In fact, it's pretty rare. But it can happen, and here's how. The main way people lose their citizenship is if the government finds out that it was obtained illegally or through fraud. Let's say you became a citizen, but you didn't actually meet the requirements. Maybe you didn't live in the US long enough before applying. Or maybe you had a criminal record you didn't mention. If any of that comes to light, the government can take you to court and try to revoke your citizenship. Another big reason is lying or hiding important facts during the naturalization process. For example, if you are asked about your criminal history and you lied, or you left out that you were previously ordered to be deported, that's a problem. The Supreme Court has said that the lie has to be material, meaning it has to be something that would have made a difference in whether you got citizenship or not. So it's not about little mistakes or typos, it's about serious things that could have changed the outcome. There's also the issue of joining certain groups. If, within 5 years of becoming a citizen, you're found to have been part of a group that's hostile to the US, think terrorist organizations or groups trying to overthrow the government. That's another way you could lose your citizenship. And here's one more. If you became a citizen by serving in the US military during wartime, but then you get a dishonorable discharge within 5 years, your citizenship could be at risk too. Now, let's be real. Denaturalization is not common. According to the Immigrant Legal Resource Center, there were only about 11 cases per year between 1990 and 2017. So, out of millions of naturalized citizens, it's a tiny number. But when it does happen, it's a big deal. The government has to go to federal court and prove their case with solid evidence. If they win, you lose your citizenship, go back to whatever status you had before, like a green card holder, and you could even be deported. So, what does this process look like? It starts with the government filing a lawsuit in federal court. You get a chance to defend yourself, get a lawyer, and present your side. The government has to show clear evidence that you weren't eligible for citizenship or that you lied about something important. If the court agrees with them, that's it. You're no longer a US citizen. But you can appeal if you think the court made a mistake or the evidence wasn't strong enough. Now, let's talk about another way people lose their citizenship, and this one is actually voluntary. It's called renunciation. This is when someone decides on their own to give up their US citizenship. Maybe you want to become a citizen of another country, or you're tired of paying US taxes while living abroad, or you just don't want to be an American anymore. Whatever the reason, you can go to a US embassy or consulate, fill out some paperwork, have an interview, and officially give up your citizenship. Once you do that, you get a certificate of loss of nationality and you're no longer a US citizen. But heads up, this is permanent. You can't just change your mind and get your citizenship back. And you lose all the rights that come with being a citizen, like living and working in the US, voting, and getting help from US embassies. A lot of people think about doing this for tax reasons, especially if they live abroad and don't want to deal with filing US taxes every year. In 2023, about 5,900 people gave up their US citizenship, mostly for reasons like this. There are also certain actions called expatriating acts that can lead to losing your citizenship if you do them with the intent to give it up. For example, if you join a foreign military that's fighting against the US, or you swear allegiance to another government, or you commit treason. But again, the key is intent. The government has to be able to prove that you really meant to give up your citizenship. Now, you might have heard that denaturalization has been in the news more lately. That's true. During the Trump administration, the Department of Justice set up a special denaturalization section in 2020. They started looking more closely at cases involving things like terrorism, war crimes, and human rights abuses. Some people were worried this could be used to go after people for minor mistakes or create fear in immigrant communities. The numbers did go up for a while. About 40% of all denaturalization cases since 2008 happened after 2017. But even then, we're talking about a few dozen cases a year, not thousands. So what can you do to protect your citizenship? Honestly, the most important thing is to be completely honest on all your immigration forms and during interviews. Don't leave anything out, don't fudge the truth, and keep copies of all your paperwork. If you ever have questions or something comes up, like you're worried about a mistake you made years ago, talk to a good immigration lawyer. Most people will never have to worry about losing their citizenship, but it's always better to be safe and informed. Let's recap. If you're born in the US, your citizenship is basically untouchable. If you're a naturalized citizen, the government can only take it away in rare cases, usually if you got it by lying, hiding something major, or joining groups that are enemies of the US. You can also choose to give it up yourself, but that's a big decision with serious consequences. At the end of the day, US citizenship is a powerful thing. It gives you rights, protections, and opportunities that millions of people around the world dream about. Losing it is rare, but it can happen. So stay honest, stay informed, and take care of your status. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the U.S. Immigration News Channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hello everyone.